G'day, g'day. How's everyone going? Stozzo here. Just waiting on some technical difficulties for the other gents. But I thought I'd start the stream so we can get the Friday afternoon bevies happening. Oh, yeah. So it looks like Hex Enthusiast has just got a mic issue, but all good in the hood. So, yeah, let me just quickly say hello to the chat, see what's going on. So Red Squirrel, oi oi, how you going, mate? As always, thanks for joining us. Hexpulse King, Sammy Chica. Oh, how you going, Sammy? Negan X Frank, thank you again. He's always joining us. Appreciate that. Negan X Frank. We got Lockstock Vids, Crypto Class, Dan Wednesday. Oh, and Mango. Oi oi. That's awesome. I am going to start Friday with the beer, Friday Arvo. Cheers. Get your beverages ready if you've got them. And yeah, I think I might just crank up some graphs while we're waiting. 2 secs. BTC. Let's have a look at this. Okay, cool. So like it's been a busy week, heaps of stuff happening, and Hex price has been pumping. Let's go. So I've been pretty stoked about that. I just wanted to talk about a couple of things. So this is BTC since like the last bull, I guess the last cycle. And I have this indicator which I like to look at, which is when on the weekly candles, where if it closes below the 20 MA, 20 week moving average, that's like, it's a lagging indicator like most moving averages, but it is a sign that it's, that's breaking down. And it doesn't happen that often. Like this is in like 3 years. This has happened like 6 times. And so also when the moving averages are stacked, so you've got the 10 MA, the 20 MA, like the 50, and you can see you're in a clear uptrend, right? Because like the last 10 weeks is higher than the 20 weeks like preceding it. So when they crossed above here, the 20 MA closed on the weekly, that was like a sign for me, albeit a late indicator that we're in a serious uptrend on a weekly time frame, right? So you can do this on lower time frames and you get similar results for that like respective time frame. And then likewise, when it crashed down here to 51K and closed, that was like the end. Now it didn't go above the 20 MA for over a year, right? And then so when it did, this is when I was starting to get bullish again. So this is like January 9. And then you get the golden cross as well. And we're in a clear uptrend. So it's been like, as Tangent sort of says, we've been like in a bull market like since the very bottom here. But like this is like confirmation for me that we're in an uptrend. My concern was that we had a 20 MA weekly candle closing. This was the Israel-Hamas candle. So when they actually invaded Israel. So that I thought maybe had started a downtrend. Little did I know that within a few weeks, it's just broken back through it. So this was the fake BTC ETF news that guy like gave to Cointelegraph and did a Rollbit 50x leverage thing. But it sort of almost didn't matter because it showed that the market was like, had priced in that, hang on, if there's people on the sidelines with fiat, this comes online, then the price is gonna moon. So yeah, this candle here, I was bullish again. This was like the 16th of October, which also coincided with the Sydney booze cruise. So yeah, we can take credit for that, the Aussies. Just our sheer like fervor and willpower partying on a yacht was enough to turn the market around. You got financial advice. So yeah, it was really interesting, like the way that it's closed above it, and then it's just kept going up. So this is the BlackRock spot ETF BTC, their ticker, the iShares ticker, the IBTC ticker that got put on there. So it's like it's imminent that this BTC spot, BlackRock spot ETF is coming out. So that's what I think has been cranking the market. And if you remember, I had this sort of like hopium and copium scenarios where it's like we could have had this fractal head and shoulders, and it was going to break down, and then hopefully that was the bounce off this 20K. And then I think last week we talked about how it had broken out of that shoulder. So even on the dailies, it was like just had already started pumping up, and then it was like, we're on. So, and then it's just gone, it's gone crazy. It's almost gone parabolic, really. And then so I think that has been reflected in the RH ecosphere as well. So PLS, DAI, we had that triangle that sort of broke down here. That formed a really strong resistance that we got rejected off multiple times, and it kept trying to break through the resistance. And then about here, where it broke out of that sort of head and shoulders thing, and it was just started taking off, it was like go time. And then, yeah, it just busted through this resistance. I think last Friday, I was about here, and we had just peaked our head just above that resistance. And I was like, holy shit, if it can turn this resistance into support, then it's just going to go for the moon. And it did. It's just gone crazy. So that's been epic to see. And I hope that, this pullback now is just going to continue up. The other thing is, I've talked about, from previous cycle all-time high to when it breaches the cycle is basically 3 years. Like it's exactly 1 year, like 50 weeks to the low. It's nearly exactly 3 years to when it reclaims the all-time high. So I had put this thing in where I was like, 3 years from this all-time high, I was hoping that we could get back to 67K BTC by October 2024. So it's like a year away still, right? But if you think about that, with the downside potential, it would have to go up really, really fast to get to there. And so we broke out of this head and shoulders. We're sort of cranking up now. It's still got to go up pretty steeply to hit 67K in 1 year. I mean, I know it can do, BTC can go up whatever 20% in like 2 days. So maybe it's not that crazy, but it does sort of seem like it's got a fair bit of work to do to get even back to here. So we're not even talking like 85K Bitcoin or anything like that. But so maybe this is too steep. Maybe it almost seems unlikely that it could go that fast. But either way, I'm pretty stoked. I think there's this flight to quality sort of narrative or meme that you like, that this Larry Fink, CEO of BlackRock, is putting out there, that like even though the S&P 500 is getting smoked, and look, it's done that close below the 20 MA on the weekly, but it didn't recover. You know what I mean? Like it didn't print a green above the 20 MA yet. So it's just going down. So that's slightly concerning, but it just means that BTC has decorrelated from the stock market, like legacy finance. So S&P 500 still going down. BTC just shrugged that off and just went crazy. So I don't know. I've got a little bit skeptical hippo eyes, as 43 likes to say. I don't know where he is. And Hex Enthusiast. But anyway, I think that is, as long as like the stock market doesn't, murk us, then BTC, like, I mean, they keep cranking up these interest rates. They're going to have to start doing some quantitative easing at some point, turn the money printers back on. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, there's heaps of stuff that's been happening. Last thing I'll say about the price, because it's probably one of the least interesting things, is because everyone knows the price, right? So it's not like it's not interesting. It's awesome because price has been pumping, but just because anyone can do this. If you look on the Aurochs indicator, you can put a TD indicator, TD sequential, which is like, shout out to Tangent again, who's like taught me about this. But on the daily, we almost hit that exact like 9 days of pump, and then now the reversal. So like that was the buy. I mean, you can take some of these green triangle buys with a grain of salt, because it doesn't always get them right. But yeah, it's hit a red there, a red one. So I guess we'll just wait and see. So yes, there's been heaps of cool shit that's been happening. Mintra has launched, 9inch has launched. Let me just see what's going on in the chat in case people were talking about that in particular. Any thoughts on, what is that graphic? It looks like a dragon. And it will be on 9inch. No idea. Yeah, it's a meme coin. Then yeah, check it out. I mean, the proof in the pudding is in the eating. Like the performance of the asset is in the green candles. So if it starts going well and it's by like a known, founder or something, someone that's like doxed their, they show their face and it's like a trusted thing. You don't think they're going to rug you, then yeah, go for it. If you want to invest in it, it's your money, bro. Ollie. Okay, yeah, she's really nice. Actually, I've met Ollie. Money breakdown details I can use for my stream. Glenn's just trying to get me to give her stream tips for her stream tomorrow. I helped out Claus do some multi-cents because she had this whole the Lamont guy, the professor. I'll just bring that back in case these guys show up. The Lamont guy's students, there's like 33 students, and they Claus did this like giveaway thing where she raised a bunch of PLS and Hex and whatever, and sent it to them, like just so they could play around on PulseChain. So, and he's been teaching his class. So yeah, shout out to Lamont Black, the prof. He's going to be on Claus's stream tomorrow with Crypto Coffee. So that'd be really interesting. Out of interest, if anyone is interested in how I did that, if you go to CoinTool, and like I've got just a stream wallet, so this is not a proper wallet. But basically, yeah, there's heaps of cool DeFi stuff on this site. So one of the things it's got is a token multi-sender. So you can go on any chain, right? But yeah, in this case, PulseChain. You can put in your token address. So like Hex, for example, you put in all the wallets. So I just made like a spreadsheet, and then of just the public wallet addresses. And then it's like a comma. You can concatenate the, I use like an Excel function to concatenate like the address, like a comma, and then the amount, right? And then you just paste that shit in here. Next, send. And you can send like, you could send tokens to like 1,000 wallets if you wanted to. But I just did it like, whatever it was, 555.5 hex to, these people, and then PLSX, and then some HSIs. The HSIs is slightly more difficult because with this multi-sender, the NFT multi-sender, you've got to paste in the wallet addresses, but so it depends on if it's an ERC 721 or ERC 1155, which HSIs are 721. And then you just have to put in the contract address. So like if you go to like Mintra or even on Ethereum on OpenSea, it's the same contract address. It's this here. So this is Mintra. It's got all the HSIs. You can like, I guess, you know, bid on them or purchase them. But yeah, so if you put in the HSI contract address and then you put in the wallets that you're sending it to with a comma, but instead of the amount, because it's only like one NFT like per address, you have to put in the token ID. So yeah, like if you go to like ICOSA, like, you know, when you're making a HSI, you go to Hedron, you can create a stake, like literally could just do like, you know, 2 hex or whatever for, you know, 2 days. And then you can choose a HSI encapsulated stake. Oh yeah, this wallet's probably got a couple of hex in it. And then easy done, click it clicks. So then you create your HSI. You then have to tokenize it. So once you've, oh yeah, you guys can see this. Once that's done, presuming I haven't actually connected my wallet to this, and oh yeah, it's fully done. So then here you can just go actions, get this thing off, actions. Hang on, that's an old one. Oh, okay, you can transfer it from here to tokenize it. Maybe I've already tokenized this one. Anyway, you've done this before. You create the HSI, you tokenize it, and then it'll show up in your because you know how you can do the HSI buyback, you can get ICOSA for it. If you sell a HSI, that's how you get ICOSA. If you go to this sell HSI, it'll give you the token ID. So that's where I was getting at with this coin tool. That's annoying. PLS. Yeah, that's what I was getting at with this NFT multi-sender. You put in the token ID, like I say, the HSI contract address, put in the wallets, comma, the token ID for the respective HSIs. Bam. All right, I think I explained that. All right. Now, what is going on over here? Oh, look, Jex is here. Oh, come to save the day. My man.
Hey, how are you, brother?
I didn't say, oh, very well, mate. I was
That's good.
Just chatting away because I had no one else to chat to, mate.
I thought I wanted to pop on because I haven't I've been missing the Tuesday night things, which is a bit of a shame.
Yes.
I'm actually glad that I don't know if you can hear my phone. It's just going mental at the moment. I've got
That's
that
cool.
many messages pinging at me.
All
So
good, bro.
I'm a bit distracted.
How you going, man? How's things?
Yeah, going really well. Yeah, going well.
Wicked.
I think
Thanks for coming on.
There's a nice vibe going around at the moment, isn't there?
Yeah. I'm pretty stoked. I think there's been a lot happening. I mean, price-wise, but even you know, like the BlackRock ETF, like the ticker, all that sort of stuff. I talked about that earlier. It's just been pumping the price. And then, but yeah, Lamont is doing a stream with Claz. And then, so I was just saying how I was like helping with the send, like the multi-send to all the wallets.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so I was just like, because I'd never sent NFTs before, like in bulk. So I was like, wait, what? NFTs, I have to get token ID.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, isn't it?
So anyway, I was just showing on stream then, like, so you can still use the coin tool like multi-sender, and then you just choose like ERC, you know, 721s or whatever, and then you just do the list, the address, and then you put the token ID. So and it's the same contract for all the HSIs, and then you just do like a bulk send. It's actually really easy.
Cool.
But it just took me a little bit to like muck around with it type thing.
Yeah, I've never looked at doing a bulk of NFTs.
NFTs. Well, see, I guess in the future, like, you know, people do airdrops and stuff like that. So I'm kind of hoping that by sharing that info, I'm like encouraging people, because, you know, you got the sacrifice set of people who sacrifice for freedom of speech or whatever, freedom of movement, all this sort of stuff for PLSX. That list, that set of addresses should be used in the future for projects to do NFT drops, to do
I don't know. What do you like? It's interesting. I think there's a very good case for it. But do you think, and this is a good thing, it's a double-edged sword, but it's a good thing. So the community has grown a lot, and so we all came together around firstly this core thing of Pulse and PulseX, and then from that there's just been this Cambrian explosion of projects, and so now you've got little subgroups within Pulse, and I think where those projects launch their things, they're probably less inclined to use the whole sacrifice set.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. That's actually, I was going to mention that as well, because the Tang Gang, and I'm sure if Tangent was here, he would be.
He's probably busy doing stuff for the Tang Gang right now.
He's probably fully doing it. Let me just see if I can.
While you're doing that, mate, just give me 2 seconds. I've just quickly got to do something.
Yeah. Go for it, man. That'll be perfect.
Won't be 2 seconds.
No dramas, bro. That's the cool thing about the happy hour, is that it's pretty low stress. So I encourage people to hit me up if they want to come on and we can chat about stuff. One thing I was going to chat about, apart from this 9-inch has limit orders, which I think is epic, and that's wicked. But the hexoacoin.com, that's like the Grove. It makes sense for people. Most people would know this, but in case you're like, you know, just new to the Tang Gang or whatever, or just a lurker like me, you've got to go to this more thing up here. And this is how you keep track of like the new drops that are going on. So like, say for example, I think it's Charlie on Twitter, Charlie 2020. She's doing this reptilian rendezvous thing. And so the idea with this is that it was a free NFT for people who held Wattses. So a lot of people, you know, and I think also for people who had HOA coins. So most of the time these things are like, you know, if you have, so this was a heavy metal band, and you could get these NFTs. I tried to get it, but I think I was too late. And it's like, you know, so it's a way of like people like promoting their stuff if they're in the Tang Gang. And a lot of these were free, like, you know, so if you just had to have HOA in your wallet, and then you could go them. But this more drop down, this gets updated like all the time. So oh, cool, you're back. So I was just saying, like, you know, because a lot of people had Wattses, right? Like in the community. So pretty much anyone who had a Watsa would have been eligible for this free mint of this reptilian rendezvous.
Okay.
I mean, it's like,
who launched that one? Do we know?
That was that. It's Charlie on Twitter. She does a lot of AI stuff.
Yeah, right.
She's pretty cool. Like, you know, they have is it Mana who does her the juice. Some of these are not safe for work, but whatever. Yacht safe for work. But she did a whole bunch of free mints as well with these, you know. These I think are
she's got some cool stuff going on.
Yeah, these are ERC 1155s, I think. So
yeah,
like,
that'd be right. Yeah,
a bit more intense. But like, okay, that's a controversial statement, but I was going to say, but you might agree with me. So let me just stop this. Yeah. So, okay. Does this controversial statement. Why do they insist on making these pixelated NFTs when you know how it's like you get these NFT and I get like the crypto punks and stuff like that. Like
I can tell you why.
Because of like data, like how much is it? A data
yeah.
thing?
So a lot of the pixelated stuff can be stored on chain, whereas stuff like you just displayed then, it's got to be stored in IPFS or something like that, or hosted somewhere where the token just points to that bit of data. So
yeah, and that was the original way of doing it, wasn't it?
The original way would have been on chain. So like yeah. So I think that your crypto kitties and all that, I'm pretty sure they're all on chain. So I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure
I think you're right. I think you're right.
And that's why they were so expensive to create as well, because the gas cost to do that.
The gas.
To store all the storage costs. But yeah, so what I think the NFT space it started off, and I reckon PulseChain's going through a bit of this at the moment, where we've jumped on the NFT bandwagon, and there's a lot of profile pic type stuff getting blasted out, but eventually that can lead to other value. But what I'm actually seeing a lot more than just the profile pic stuff is the way NFTs are being used for some pretty clever stuff now. So access tokens, so that the NFT gating was one sort of thing. And I've been working with a company that's they're called Unlock.
Okay.
And they've launched across all your major chains, and their code got all forked across to Pulse, obviously.
Awesome.
So I've reached out to those guys because they've got some stuff that I actually want to use, and you can basically set up a whole membership site and everything, and use NFTs to control all the access, and it's awesome what you can do with it. Basically, you can do like an Eventbrite type thing as well, where you give people digital tickets and all done on. It's fucking fantastic. But
awesome.
And it's free. They don't charge anyone for it, which is even better. What I'm finding on PulseChain is there's always something that we don't quite have yet that's limiting some of those guys coming across. And I think the sticker on that one, the sticking point on that one might be the Gnosis safe isn't up and running on chain. But in saying that, all the contracts are there, and if they've got a front end that can interact with the contracts, it might be cool.
someone will build it, I reckon, if it's possible. Like, I mean, maybe the Gnosis team would have to get on board.
Yeah, that's the problem. The Gnosis team need to get on board to keep it native. So when you go to the Gnosis safe, to their front end, if you want to select all the different chains, well, then they have to come and do that. Like, we can't do that for them.
Yeah.
So
we'll just have to bombard them until they agree to do it. Like, let's just get tangent.
I've sent the guy. So they've been very responsive in their Discord. I've told them what I want to do. I've actually given them some gas. I've pointed them out how they verify their contracts and everything. So hopefully, if that comes across, that will be a big deal for everyone. Just because there'll be some really cool shit that we can do. Now it's not all the pretty profile pics and all that, but you can do that. But they do a very unique approach, and it's the first complete NFT system I've seen that people are using for membership sites and stuff. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Oh, that'd be epic. And because, like, I remember Alex was building some actual infrastructure, some data center thing. How's he going with that? Is that like,
I don't know how he finds time to do anything, to be honest, but he's a
but
busy
he
boy.
made some like full data center, like
I'm not sure. Like, I thought my take on that was he originally done that when he thought there was going to be a massive need for some grunt to run the validators. Yeah, and that's obviously changed. And I think it's changed for the better. I'm so happy I'm so happy that we got an ETH fork.
Yes, 100%.
Binance Smart Chain, might have been quicker and all that, and there's a few nice things to have there, but man, it's dog shit compared to what we've got.
It pales. And
the fact that we can leverage off of everything else that gets built is just that's a
man, I mean, once the merge happened, it was just a no-brainer. It was just like, oh, holy shit, they pulled it off. let's just fork this. And I mean, so much better. Yeah. And we can incorporate these upgrades like upstream.
It's the decentralization aspect. That's the thing that. So, well, there's two things. So there's the decentralization aspect is next level. It means that we can push it all out to the edges, and everyone can be a participant in it and produce blocks and everything. So that's awesome. And just the revenue, like the better chances for revenue, and you're in charge of everything you do and how you want to control that. So I just think the yields are pretty attractive on that.
Still pretty good, for sure. Oh, Johnny Chaos in the chat. That's awesome. How you going, Johnny? So yeah, that's really cool. So I mean, there's nearly 50,000 validators now, and I mean, this is the whole ethos of crypto, is to have this decentralized network. And I think it's really great that there's so many people out there. And I was looking into that the Nakamoto coefficient to see as a metric of how decentralized a network can be. And I found a site that had a whole bunch of chains, and it would update almost like every 6 hours or whatever. And then I was chatting to the guy on Discord to try and get him to incorporate PulseChain. He showed me, I've got the GitHub for it. And he basically said, look, if you do a pull request and you've got all the bits there, he'll include it on his site. Like, he's happy to do it. But then when I was going through the GitHub code, I was like, oh, this might be above my pay grade.
And that's where I quickly get to.
Yeah. I was like, I might just chat to the guys in the Pulse Dev chat. And I just got like a bunch of likes and stuff, but no one actually sort of said, I'll give you a hand with it. So I might try and hit up like RH Max or someone, because it doesn't look that hard. Like, you have to basically just make a branch of the GitHub code and then make the relevant changes and then do a pull request, and then he'll include it on his site. But then that
so what was that one for? To do what? What were you trying to get?
It's the Nakamoto coefficient. So it's a metric of decentralization. So I think the reason why I wanted to know is because you know how we always sort of this selling point of like, we've got 46,000 validators. But a lot of people have, like, not a lot, but some of the validators have like thousands of validators, right? So it's like, in terms of actual nodes or whatever, it's not 50,000. Like, you might have you know what I mean? Like, you got one person's got 500, one person's got 10,000.
Yeah, I reckon it would. I reckon you could cut that down by a factor of 10 or more easily. Yeah, maybe even more. Yeah, 20 even.
Yeah, exactly. So say you're then talking numbers of like, 5,000 to 2,000.
Even that
nodes. That might even be high. But that's still a lot higher than like. Oh, it looks like Hex Enthusiast is here. Let me just yo, Hex Enthusiast, how you going, bro?
Hey, good to see you, brother.
He may not be able to.
Yo, hey, how's it going? Have you?
Pretty good, mate.
Hang on.
I think you've got a little bit of echo, and
Have you got me?
I have. Your mic is really loud. But
can you should be able to control that, guys.
Let's try again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think you can actually set the levels for everyone.
Edit mic settings. Huh. Okay, I'll just turn your mic down. Sweet. All right.
Am I up too loud, am I?
No, it's all good, bro. It's all good. I was just saying that, so in terms of actual nodes, like in terms of, the 46,000 validators, if you've only got, say, 1,000 actual nodes or whatever, but that's still a shit ton more than, is it base or whatever? That's just got like one node or like, you know what I mean?
You see what Johnny's saying?
Give me two.
So the Go Pulse guys have got the map, which I've seen.
Yes,
which I'm assuming is based on validators. They could probably get that down to nodes as well, like IP addresses, surely.
Well, I didn't want to be like, because it's like, don't want to be like doxing, or whatever. But I don't think it's
They would have that data, man. Anyone that's using it's making their own data public. Like they're using.
It's literally like if you go Pulse validators. If you go down here, see, I didn't want to like. I mean, I suppose this is all public, But so these are the active validators.
But it doesn't go down to the IP level, does it?
No, it doesn't. Yes, you're right. Yeah. So, but it also might include like cloud services. So like this all nodes or validators.com, they're probably like an AWS.
They would have their own IPs, though.
Yeah, individually they would. Yeah. And so from a decentralized point of view, that's why I was interested in terms of the Nakamoto coefficient as to see what it actually is, because as like compared to other charts. But yeah, so this tells you how many validators. Like some people have got like Coit.pls. Is that like Russell Coit? Is that you, Jexa?
Hey?
Are you Russell Coit? Nah, I don't want
to. What are you talking about?
See, this is Coit.pls.
Oh, no.
That's an Aussie. You know Russell Coit?
Oh, Russell Coit, yeah.
Yeah. That's funny. That's probably.
Have you guys got me now? I've been battling
with
this for hours.
Yeah, bro.
Good, mate. Your video was a bit chunky before, but looks good now.
Looks really good, man.
Oh man, ridiculous. Anyway,
let me just
sorry.
quickly pull up this. So there's this Naka Flow. This was the site anyway that had the Nakamoto coefficients for these different sites. So it was just like, I just was interested about what it would be for PulseChain.
So on their Git repo, you've just got to give him the network settings. Is that it, or?
I think it's a little bit more complicated because I was looking into it.
That shouldn't be too hard.
No. Well, that's what I was saying. Is like,
if you need a hand with that, I probably could help you with that.
Yeah, awesome. I'll send you the GitHub thing. I won't bore people on stream with it.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, Hex Enthusiast, bro, how you going?
Yeah, I'm good.
You well? You well?
I'm going to crack a can because that was the most frustrating 45 minutes ever.
No worries, no worries at all.
So my computer updated. Overnight, and
that sucks.
And then I don't know, it wouldn't let me get into my power settings, and it was stuck on the power saver mode, and it wouldn't do anything. But I think I'm still on a big delay. I don't know. Anyway.
Oh, okay. Well, you sound good at this end.
We'll get there. All right, cool.
Someone said in the chat.
Where are you up to? I haven't heard anything yet because I've just been.
Oh, that's cool. I won't. Go over everything that I've said just for the sake of the audience, but we're just chatting about the validators and stuff. But
no.
Someone was saying in the chat that there's someone from Outback WA has a validator.
Yeah, I've had a look. I think it's Kalgoorlie was where I pinned it down to, and they've got a few of them kicking out there. It could just be
Is this the map? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So if you grab the globe and spin it up, and you'll find Australia.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
Oh, there's Jexa right there. Yeah, that's wicked. So someone in Marble Bar or something.
Can you hover over it and it tells you, or?
Nah, I can't click
anymore or anything.
But yeah, maybe that's Coit. That's funny. Anyway, so in the chat, what else we got here? Bob Lagai. X2Y2 is handy if you want to bulk send NFTs to ETH on a new address. Oh, there you go. Thanks for that. Because we were talking about the NFT multi-send before.
What was that one called?
X2Y2. I thought that was a
X2Y2.
X2Y2.
Bulk send NFTs.
I thought that was a DEX. Oh, it's a
that's DYD2 or something like that, isn't it? Or DYDX or something.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But this is on Ethereum. Look, I think I should be chatting about Mintra because they just launched.
I'm copping real bad lag here. I reckon I might have to bail out.
Oh, okay. Maybe go out and come back in, bro. So Mintra launched the other day. And so because they had airdropped the token last Friday, And when I looked at the chart, I was like, oh no, they got wrecked. But it was just because the liquidity was so low and someone had set the pool so that the price was really high. But like with respect to the actual SAC value, it was only about 20% down when I sold it for Hex.
So you would have thought, I mean, my thinking is if you launch something, the team should be the one that sets the initial liquidity.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought. That was a bit of a let me just stop this. That was a bit of a F up, I would have said.
Well, it is and it isn't. It does, like the market's going to do what the market's going to do anyway. So I don't think it really makes two differences. This chart just looks a bit different at the beginning. That's all. But
yeah, so I mean, I could pull up chart, but you obviously know what happened. So when someone got their coins, they set the ratio of like PLS to mint, so that the price was super high, but the liquidity was so thin that the chart just got wrecked, and it looked like they're like 88% down or something. 43 is here, but it looks like his mic is muted. I hope that's.
I'm here.
Oh,
hey, guys.
Sorry, bro. I wasn't sure if that was me that had muted your mic or what. But
no, because I'm in a different location. My apologies for not being on time, guys. I had something happened, and I totally didn't even have my phone with me to reply to any of your messages. But yeah, that's cool. All good. You guys talking about Mintra?
Yeah. I was just saying, like, because last week I thought that the price had gone down like 90% from SAC, but it was an illusion because it was just the way that someone had provided liquidity to start it off, and then that the price was artificially high. And then by the time I got around, because like full disclosure, I sold that mint for Hex, like, and then I was like,
nice.
Yeah, and it turned out to be good because Hex just went off its tits and just pumped, So, but
you might not, maybe you weren't the only person who did that. It could be that a few people did that, and that's in part why maybe that supported the price going up to some extent.
Yeah, so because that was money that we had sacked in the bull market that was like, had retained its value. So if it had been put in Hex and gone down, 90%.
When was that sack? Do we know the date of the Hex value? The Hex value of that sack? At the date of the sack?
I don't think you can go just on Hex though, man, because you got to chuck everything in the mix, don't you?
Yeah, because everything's obviously gone down. So unless you held it in stables, like if you had it in pretty much any other crypto, it would have gone down. So it actually retained its purchasing power quite well, I thought.
That's awesome. Anyway, today is like the first day. Today's the first day, the first episode of the happy hour show that I'm actually drinking a beer. So this is not going to be. I'm drinking a Peroni Leggera, which I like. It's a Peroni light beer, which is 3.5% alcohol. And the reason I like these is because they're 0.9 of a standard drink. So if you follow the rule of thumb is 2 standard drinks in the first hour and 1 standard drink after that to be under the 0.05 limit for a grown man.
Yeah.
So I know that if I just drink 1 of these an hour, then I'm good.
Good to go. Yeah, I do that as well. I'm just like 2 in the first hour, 1 every hour after that, and then it's like should be okay.
And a glass of water in between each drink. A glass of water in between each drink, mate. That's the golden rule, so that you don't feel like dog shit the next day.
That's it.
I'm still recovering from the meetup.
From the booze cruise. That was good. That was awesome to drink with your Jaxa in the flesh. That was cool. That was lots of fun. How funny was Hex Rockstar? He was like,
he was a legend, man.
Character, right?
Really funny.
Yeah,
he was a good bloke, and it's funny. Like you see him, and he looks like a caricature of, but he's just fucking awesome. Like he's a legend.
It's really cool. Yeah. I got along really well with him. And I was saying last week, you get a photo with him, and it's just like you know, you're in some bloody music video and there's blowing your hair and it's like rock and roll. It's really cool. And so I was also going to say that apart from Mintra launching, so there was two things. One is apparently 9 Mil is going to do an NFT marketplace, which is I'm looking forward to because they do the block scanner, right? But also 9 Inch have just released their DEX, and they've got limit orders.
That's a good one. Do you know what they're using under the hood for that?
Ooh, it wasn't Pancake Swap, was it? You mean in terms of the DEX?
Well, for the limit order processing, I'm not sure whether that's on chain.
Yeah.
How they're
not
doing
sure,
that.
man.
I know
for some reason
Swap
it was
is
a
now.
fork of Pancake Swap.
Yeah, because Pancake Swap is using V3, aren't they?
Yes, Uniswap V3. You're right.
Yeah.
They have got that.
But we haven't had that. We haven't had a V3 over.
No, apart from Alex's Hedron.pro one or whatever.
Is that V3?
Yeah, you could do add V3 liquidity, I'm pretty sure.
Really? I didn't know that.
I never did it, but I just always assumed you could.
Yeah. Wasn't aware of that.
It was that Hedron.pro one. Yeah, I'd have to double check, but I'm pretty sure because you could add it basically just forked the Uniswap front end, and then
but that was done. That was you're right, aren't you? So, but he didn't launch any of the pools or anything. He just launched the front end.
Yeah, so people had to add to the pools, and then those pools got drained. So it was like almost not functional, but it's still there. Like you can still do it.
Yeah.
So this is 9 Inch, and it's got limit orders. So that's pretty cool.
So Bob, the guy's right. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. Alex is just attached to the existing V3, whereas we haven't seen a native V3.
That's true.
Launch yet. So it'd be interesting to see whether 9 Inch is what. And that says powered by Chainlink. Hey?
Oh, it does too. That's funny. Okay. But hang on. They don't have oracles on PLS, though.
That would be interesting to see how that's working.
I'll just check the chat because I just, like you say, just missed. Johnny Chaos said, Doza, how many people do you actually think had heard of that site, need to do all that work to get listed on? Obviously, most people nowhere near that. 14 dudes run Matic. No one cares. Optimism is one centralized computer. Yeah, I think he's right. Like, I guess it's just like a nerd thing with crypto. It's like you want to know like the metric for decentralization, like in terms of the Nakamoto coefficient, whereas actually no one actually cares and they just want price go up.
Yep.
Halloween is coming up. Johnny Chaos is the man for that. He does all this stuff.
That Chainlink thing is knocking me for 6. Is that? Do you think they've just thrown that in there? Or that can't be legit, is it?
I'm wondering whether it's just come across as a bit of a copy and paste or not.
Yeah, maybe the code it just had it in the code.
Well, it's not there on the DEX part. But when you go to limit orders, it says powered by Chainlink, which is interesting.
Interesting to see how they're putting.
Yeah,
that
because
together.
the Chainlink oracles, as far as I know, aren't on PulseChain.
And if they are, that's a big deal. And
yeah, because
is Hex Enthusiast is Hex Enthusiast trying to get back on?
Oh, sorry, man. It's hard when I'm looking at multiple things. How you going, Hex Enthusiast? You back, bro?
All good.
Yeah, he was having some problems before.
I think I'm back. If
it seems better.
Let's go. That I noticed that as well. That Chainlink mention A43. Hey.
So it looks like the farms aren't live though. Like you can't actually do anything with the.
So that's
so they got no
interesting.
liquidity.
what's interesting though is in the chat they're saying 9 inches already on ETH. So by virtue of being on ETH, could you pull the Pulse price in USD from the ETH side? Can we?
Oh,
that could be injected across
because it's on ETH, so they can use the oracles on the ETH side. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
But can that be put to use on the Pulse side? That would be interesting.
So let me just
could you say that again? Could you say that again, Jexa? What are you thinking?
So Bob the guy and Red Squirrel are saying that 9 inches operational on the ETH side, and that's why they're saying they're saying that the chain link's in use there, which makes sense.
Yep.
What I'm saying is, by virtue of doing that, because we've got wrapped Pulse over on the ETH side, is there any way they're obviously getting that price feed? Is there any way that price feed can be
wrapped Pulse? Wrapped Pulse does not automatically. Wrapped Pulse price is determined on the Pulse side and needs to be arbitraged back to where it's supposed to be.
That's what I'm saying. So if they're linked, but we can get a price feed on the ETH side from Chainlink, can that somehow be used?
But it couldn't be. It would not be. That would only tell you what the price of ETH was. It wouldn't tell you what the price of the wrapped ETH is on PulseChain.
No, I'm talking about Pulse though. Wrapped Pulse will have a price.
Oh, Pulse. Oh, like a ratio. So, but I guess you need an oracle on Pulse to know the ratio between ETH and Pulse, don't you?
No, so all your interest, what most protocols need is a USD feed of Pulse. A value of, and on ETH we know that because you've got wrapped Pulse there, and you can compare it to.
Oh yeah, true. That's true.
No, you've still got to have an element of trust there. Whoever captures that price feed and brings it across. If you could do that trustlessly, that might actually work.
It's just the wrapped Pulse on Ethereum is always going to be like not an accurate.
Yeah, there's a chip. Yeah, well, it's not
an accurate representation. There's an arb. Yeah, there's an arb. Like people are going to be arbing it back and forth to get it right, and you would expect that the market would make that be the same. However, it's a proxy price, if you know what I mean. It's not the price. But yeah.
So I think that's what we've got a lot of going on at the moment. Is a lot of teams have developed their own centralized oracles. So the fiat guys and everyone's got their own little workaround at the moment. Desperately need something a bit more robust, I think.
So is the LL guys still waiting on the fetch oracle thing? They had that bug with the
yeah. I don't think that bug was a major, and good that it's caught now. Be interesting to see how that. We may actually end up with the better solution in terms of the way we like to do things in Pulse is decentralized, so people can't shut things off. Fetch probably is going to be a lot better at that than Chainlink is. There's obviously some payoffs for doing that though. Chainlink can pull feeds from anywhere and can be a lot more flexible, but there's a lot of centralized components there. It's not, and there's a lot of points where you can get attacked from a regulatory point of view. So we might have to swallow a little bit of lack of features and things like that, but end up with a more robust decentralized solution. And I'd be pretty okay with that.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm actually quite impressed with Liquid Loans, the fact that they've opted to delay the launch due to these things, like rather than push it to push it forward. They've just decided to hold it back until they get it right. I appreciate that. I know projects get a lot of shit for that. They get a lot of shit. It's like, come on, release it already. But this is something you have to get right. You only get one chance to get it right, and you really, really have to do the right thing. So good on them for doing the right thing, even if it takes longer. We've already waited this long. Might as well just get it right.
Yeah. It could be if you launch that in a hurry, it would be an absolute catastrophe if something went wrong. It would,
Yeah,
it would
particularly when
fuck
there's
over a lot of
Absolutely.
people.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see that there's that 9-inch token? Bob Guy just put it in the chat. Thanks for that, Bob. And there's also the BBC, which I think is their ink token, like their equivalent of the incentive token. So those tokens are I've lost his both for some reason.
Sorry, that was just coincidental. I was just
okay. Freaking out. I was like, I thought it was my internet.
You thought you got left alone.
It was only because they both went at the same time. No, all good.
Hey,
so there was.
I got a question for you.
Yeah, mate, go ahead.
I got a question for you guys. Sorry, I might have a delay because I'm wearing Bluetooth headphones, but is anyone like not a fan of the fact that there's something called 9-inch and there's going to be something called 9 mil? Like I think that is the biggest of all the names that exist in the world, to have two things that are occupying similar spaces on the same chain. It seems like a ridiculous marketing mistake to make.
I mean, I think to be fair, the 9-inch guys did it because the 1-inch. So it's like I think that's fair game. I think 9 mil. I mean, apart from like 9 mil handguns, yeah, they kind of occupying a bit of that 9999 space.
Yeah, I know, but it's like before you guys were talking about 9-inch, and I was thinking 9 mil. And then I'm like, and then I twigged, and it's like it's like a ridiculous thing to have two projects that both start with the number 9. It just seems like some dumb shit to me. That they could have easily been just make it like fucking 8 mil or something. You know what I mean? Like they've both got the number 9 in it.
That's it.
Anyway,
I mean, yeah.
Hey, it is what it is.
There's been a lot happening this week, but one thing I wanted to chat about, I wanted to make sure that we talked about, was the public submission for the opposal to this, like the SEC proposals. So Richard has been talking about that on Twitter. And I think it's only a couple of days left to put in your submissions. So I wanted to make sure people were onto that. I don't know if you can hear me. I'll just chat to myself.
Yeah. And there's actually one, and this doesn't really relate to crypto, but in Australia we have and I'm going to be mentioning this on as many streams as I can. In Australia, where there's like a new bill that's the misinformation bill that they want to make. So there's actually like a website that if you're an Australian, and this doesn't involve anyone else, obviously, if you're outside of Australia, but if you're an Australian and you care about not being, not having a ministry of truth, so, in quotation marks, you should go to the website binthebill.info and have a look at what they've got. You can use AI to make a submission, and then you can send it to our senators and just express your disdain for the idea that social media posts can be censored, right? Under the pretense of it being misinformation, which would be determined by a government agency. So you've got a government agency determining misinformation, and that would be legislated. And then once that's legislated, guess who's exempt from it? The government.
Politicians.
And government aid. No, not all politicians. Government, but potentially you could be censoring your opposition. So it's actually a threat to democracy to have something as silly as that. The
government love to do that, man. This is the thing, is like, when they had that whole mandatory data retention laws that came in, and it was like,
yes,
no one really pushed back on it. And I'm like, hang on a sec, this is terrible. Like, you can't just take metadata from people's phones and like know where they are and who they've been talking to and track their emails. Like, that's like an invasion of privacy. And then it's like, oh, well, I think they said it was based on terrorism or whatever. But it's like whatever excuse they use, it's like, well, if you've got, and then so the thing was is that they said if you've got nothing to hide, then it doesn't matter.
That's always,
like,
but that is always the excuse. The excuse is always if you've got nothing to hide, you know, then you shouldn't have a problem with it, you know?
Yeah, so that my point is that is the shittest argument that you can possibly have, because if you reciprocate that round and you say, okay, politicians, show me all your emails, show me who you've been talking to. I hope you haven't got any slush funds, or you haven't been like doing contracts or doing anything slightly corrupt or whatsoever. They won't show you shit, because the irony is that, you know, you've got nothing to hide, then you don't need privacy, but they will retain their privacy, and they will refuse to divulge any of their corporate dealings and things like that. So I just find that it's a really shit example of like, well, if you've got nothing to hide.
Fundamentally in Australia, we look, you have grown up in Australia, Jaxa grew up in Australia, I grew up in Australia, Hex enthusiasts, we all grew up in Australia. This is this goes against the social contract that we have with the parties that govern our country.
Yeah.
It goes against the social contract. Our social contract is we speak our mind, and then if someone doesn't like it, they sort of need to get over it, you know. And we don't have the exact same sort of legislative framework that backs up our free speech, but we all like pretty much have always known that we can pretty much say what we think. And if you're on, you don't really want to go into that would be such a shift from where we've been in the last since World War II. It would be such a shift in the social contract that I think that Australians need to take this seriously. Go to that website, make your submissions, email the senators, because the senators are going to be the ones who can block it. All right, because the Labor,
that misinformation bill.
Yes, this is in relation to the misinformation bill.
Yeah.
So now we've got with AI, guys, it's a 10-minute job. With AI, it's a 10-minute job to go in, you know, put some good points down and send it off to your senators, and then, because that's the only way it's going to get blocked. Labor hold the balance of power in the House of Reps, so they'll be able to pass it. Or is it the Teal? Is it the Teal that hold the Teal party that hold the balance of power?
Just that site that you're on, that's for the US stuff though, isn't it?
So that's how we got onto this. Was just that I was saying that we've only got 2 days, 9 hours to submit your stuff to the SEC, right? So the ban the bill thing, that's the Misinformation Act, and I agree with Day 43 that
for Australians that one's more important. Like this one's important as well, and I've already done one for this, but that Australian
this is time critical. This one is time critical.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, you know, wanted to focus on it a little bit, because there's literally only 2 days left, right?
Yeah.
And so you know, I think Day 43 had actually mentioned this, that if you're concerned about you know, emailing the SEC or whatever, then you can use a VPN, you can use like Proton Mail, create a
you can also use
emails.
You don't have to put an email address in.
Oh, okay.
No, but you can send it to them. You can also use a service called Gorilla Mail. If you go to Gorilla Mail, and that's like, it sets up an automatic email address. Gorilla is in guerrilla warfare.
Oh, Gorilla. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the one there. That's the one. If you click on that, it just generates you an email address that you can put in there, and it's but you know, you lose it after. It's like a disposable email address.
I see. Okay, gotcha.
You don't really care anyway. All you want to do is the submission. You don't give a shit about.
Yeah. It depends if you're doing multiple submissions or whatever.
Yeah.
But like the Proton Mail thing, I thought was cool anyway. That you can create. There's no like KYC or anything. You can make as many. Yeah.
But you do need to put in another email address. That it connects to. So a good thing to do is to put in a Gorilla Mail email address, so they can't link that to any other email address that you own. If you're that
exactly.
if you're minded in that way that you want to be completely detached from.
I mean, you can use a VPN and all that stuff as well.
I swear the one I used, so it wasn't this particular one. There was another one that got sent out. I used that. You didn't have to put in an email address at all.
There's a LexPunk.
I had the field there, but it was optional. You don't have.
Is it this
might
one?
Be that one. Yeah.
So this one was another one where you could
that's the one I used.
Basically, get AI to generate a letter. Yeah, that's kind of cool as well. So treasuryraid.lexpunk.army. But I found this one really easy to use. This is publiccommentgbt.com. And you basically, because it's got the proposal, right? So like if you're wondering what we're talking about, because there's an IRS one and there's a SEC one. It explains it all here. I'm not going to go into great detail, but one of the things, for example, was that they had proposed to expand the application of the rule from funds and securities to assets. So it was an overreach when it comes to crypto, because it's like it's not well defined. And all of a sudden, what's good for securities is now also good for assets. It's like, hang on a tick.
Assets is
you can't just change the assets. Wait, what? Everything's a security now. Like it's overreach. So for example, if you go to this website, right, you can just literally go inadequate consideration of unique properties of cryptocurrency for whatever, something like that, whatever your reason. For crypto, put in a concern, different lengths, generate. You can then put it into ChatGPT-4, refine it. You can use this one to actually customize it as well. You can say rewrite it infuse it with some 4chan humor. I don't know why you would want to do that, but you could just say, can you make this more concerned about how it could affect the economy, some industry, affect industry, something that you just put in there, and then it would rewrite it with that sort of flavor. So, and then you can literally just copy and paste it from here, and then send it through. I told
it to write me eight different versions of with the exact same meaning. I just told it to write, and it just wrote me 8. And the beauty is, I used Bing, because Bing uses ChatGPT-4, and it's free. And you can make it do a lot of work if you word your prompt correct well. You can make it do a lot of work and not waste the prompts, because you only get a limited amount of prompts with ChatGPT with Bing, because it's like limited to 10 a day or whatever. So if you word it correct, if you word it in a clever way, you can make it do a lot of work in one prompt. You just say, give me 8 different versions of this one thing, and it just goes through and just makes all these different versions.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you can just copy paste that, put into GPT-4 or whatever, and then also you can just customize it with these lists. It's got these lists here. You can add parts in this your own concern, and with the AI will just incorporate it into your message. And then there's also one here for the IRS bill for the Americans as well. So that's all I was going to say about it. 2 days to go. I think if you agree that that these changes need to be made, or rather that the proposals are inadequate, this is a helpful tool to save you some time. That's all it is.
Yep.
So I'm not shilling it saying you have to do it, but it's
Can we talk about that misinformation one for a minute, if we haven't already? Because that's
sure. Yeah. We just literally did. We just
touched on it.
Up. I can bring that back up.
Yeah, talk about it. What are your thoughts, Jackson?
So I was watching a YouTube clip yesterday, and I can't remember the chap's name, but he's been really vocal about protecting our freedoms and so forth throughout the whole COVID experience that happened. And he was quizzing. Now I'm going to be a bit shady on a lot of the details because I haven't sort of taken any notes or anything, but he was quizzing I can't remember which department heads they were, but basically they were not ASIO sort of thing, but up in that sort of realm where they were the like the part of our security forces.
Yeah.
And they had actually been referring en masse. So they had paid companies literally over close to $2 million over the course of the last 2 years to help identify people that were talking out against the government's narrative on social media platforms and submitting those responses to Facebook and the other media providers. And that is first of all, that's a big no-no. They shouldn't be doing that. And what was worse, they actually done it to a member of parliament in Craig
I think
Kelly.
I saw the same clip. I saw that clip. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So he's supposed to be protected by some additional rights because of his position in Parliament. He shouldn't be getting censored at all because, I mean, that's the voice of Parliament. You should be able to go in there and speak your mind and have debate. And
yeah.
So
they've got parliamentary privilege.
Yeah. So that was a massive overstep on their part doing that. But they kept saying, "Oh no, we weren't censoring anyone. We were just advising Meta that they might want to look at this tweet." And they kept going around in circles, and they're saying, "Well, yeah, but Meta just doesn't take someone's tweet down unless there's someone's telling them it's against the narrative, or you've told them explicitly that they're not supposed to be saying it." So they're going around in this circle. Long and the short of it is they've been censoring people, and this misinformation bill is the next step in that, and it means mainstream media gets a free ticket, government gets a free ticket, average citizen not allowed to say anything. And what's actually happened over the past 2 years is a lot of the stuff that people were saying and was getting censored for being disinformation and misinformation has actually turned out to be true. So who's the arbitrator of what's truth? And obviously that changes over time. So it's a very, very slippery slope to go down where people are getting censored before anyone even knows the facts. And who gets to set what the facts are and what the truth is. So I think if this bill gets through, that's going to set us back a long way.
There's no recovery from that.
There is no recovery from that. You're right.
There is no recovery from that. Absolutely. Because people died in wars in World War II for freedoms. And when they get taken away like that, you don't get them back without a massive fight. So if that right goes, like if they have that, then we can kiss the Australia we knew. And I know that anyone listening who's hearing me say this is like, "Oh, you're over the top. You're being like dramatic about this." It's like, but they're the same people who were telling us that. They're the same people who are telling us that getting the jab was without any risk. So, they're exactly the same people, right? Exactly the same group of people.
I mean,
but
it's a slippery slope. They take away freedoms, one at a time. Slowly, it's the slow boiling the frog.
This one isn't even one at a time, man. This is fucking broad brush, just diabolical shit.
Yeah,
like,
they're getting a bit emboldened, aren't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's pretty scary. We're going towards this dystopian sort of Orwellian future, like quite quickly. I saw
it's worse than Orwellian. Orwellian was not too bad compared to what the direction we're going in.
Did you see that Boston Dynamics have got the that Spot robot? The robot I'm talking about, the dog Spot.
I think
yeah. So in our chat, I sent a thing, and it's like they put an AI voice on the Spot so that it was like an English butler, and it was like full talking to them, like with this English accent, like, "Oh, good day, sir. Come this way," and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, okay, that's creepy. But then I was thinking, of all these different voices that you could put on that robot dog. Like, first you strap like an AK-47 to it, and then you give it the the voice just to make it slightly less. You know,
that is directly out of Black Mirror. There's a Black Mirror episode where there's the dogs. There's a Black Mirror episode where there are dogs like that, like dogs that go around and they've got guns on them and they go around just murdering people. Just
So I was thinking about all these different voices that you could put, like Bobcat Goldthwait, or like you know, just like funny voices that you could put into these things that would just make it the situation slightly, you know, more humorous, like, you know, while you're perpetrating.
Would they even bother with the dogs? They would just stick them on drones and throw the drones
drone
out
thing's
there.
Scary, man. Have you seen when they get those swarms, when they just get like you can get like kamikaze drones, and you can just get like 50 drones and they just swarm, and they do facial recognition and shit like that. It's just like pick out, you know, whoever from a crowd, and then just launch.
I've never been for guns. I've never been for guns in Australia. I've never really been for it. I'm happy that the US have got what they've got. Like, that's their deal. I'm happy that there's diversity in the world and there's different places with different sets of rules. If you like one place, you can go there. If you don't like it, you go somewhere else. I love that about the world. Thinking about drones like that makes me want to have a gun, or lots of them.
Well, I think one of the things with the guns in the US is like there becomes like a critical mass point where if enough people have guns, then you need a gun, like, because there's enough of them out there. So that's why people always go, oh, well, how come we don't have guns in Australia? It's like, well, because no one's got them, so then you don't need them. But there is a point where, like, if enough people had them, then we would be like, yeah, we want some guns now. Like, but
or if there's enough
that there's people.
If there's enough of those drones around with guns, like, think how easy it would be for a country to fill up like one of those warplanes with drones, fly over the country and drop them out of a plane down onto the country into major cities, and these drones would just think of how efficient they would be, because they would go seek people out and use one bullet, right? They would seek people out and use one bullet per person, and you could just have like hundreds of thousands of these drones mass produced by the country that could mass produce them so easily, and just send them over here, and we'd be that's the end. That's the end. That's the end of us.
I try not to go down this path of thinking, because it's actually really easy to like come up with all sorts of ways that you could like fuck up a country, you know, like fuck up so it's like it's like sometimes I think terrorists are just lazy because they just haven't been thinking enough about it. So I think, all right, I've got to stop, because, you know, you think, oh, you could do this, you could do that, and it's like, no, I'm not giving you any ideas. I'm not saying shit. So I'm trying not to go down that path. Johnny Chaos suggests a flamethrower. Or you'd have to get some kind of EMP thing. I could rig up an EMP, like a localized EMP, with like an RF amplifier and an antenna. Yeah, big time. Yeah.
Yo, we need to move close to Dozer. we need to make our citadel. So Dozer is. Yep. Dozer, you need to be in the citadel, bro.
Don't worry. Yeah. No. I've got you guys covered for comms and the jamming and stuff like that. Because I work in it, you know, I deal with spectrum analyzers and electromagnetics and stuff like that all the time. So, and I've hardened military equipment against EMP. Like, that's one of the things that they have to do. So they have to be able to handle those pulses and still function. So,
are you guys going to get a Tesla Cybertruck?
I think we might.
I don't think that's ever coming.
Have you thought about it?
You can get guns mounted on it, lasers mounted on it.
Yeah. Get a turret. That'd be sick. No, I do want one of those spots though, but just so I can program it with whatever voice I want. But they'd be super expensive, right? It's like hundreds of thousands of dollars for like this robot dog that follows you around.
And we need those video like cameras that can seek out, you know, danger and then shoot at it. Like, you know, those automatic guns that just sit on the top corner of your house and just like, they'll shoot a few birds down, but But think about.
I mean, AI is getting so good, man. It's like you can just get AI to do anything you want almost. Just program it to be like.
It's moving pretty quick, isn't it?
Yeah, it's getting hectic.
The last 12 months has just been insane. Where we've gotten to that video, I think I was talking about it the other day to you guys, where I know someone sent out a link, but basically it was translating a YouTube video from English into bloody Spanish, and then it changes your mouth movement and everything, so that
deep fakes and stuff, man. Far out.
Like, NVIDIA has a tool that if you download it, you can go download it, and it keeps your eyes looking at the camera when you've got your webcam on, so that if you're looking down doing other stuff, it just keeps your eyes looking at the camera. So
that's cool.
Creepy.
I thought that was pretty impressive, and I would use that too because I'm always looking at different screens. But I think Somi, shout out to Somi, he posted one recently, and it had someone, and I can't remember what the context was of the video, but the mouth was really spot on. Like because that was always the giveaway with the deepfake videos. You could see that the mouth wasn't quite right, and this one, it was Michael Saylor. I think it was. What? No, maybe it wasn't. Anyway, whoever it was, and he was just saying, Peter Schiff. It was the gold guy. It was Peter Schiff, and he was basically saying that he loves Bitcoin and all this shit. And I was like, damn, that is really good.
Deep fake, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, that's pretty spot on.
Dude, we're going to get trolled so hard in the next period of our lives. Like, we're all going to get trolled so hard. We have to be careful. We have to be careful at what we react to.
Yeah.
We have to call bullshit on everything. Everything. We have to call bullshit.
I'm always very skeptical by nature anyway. So not the difference between like skepticism and cynical. Not cynical, but skeptical. I'm always like, someone presents me with something, I'm always like, oh yeah, how does that work? And then once they explain it, I'm like, okay, I get it. But I don't just believe shit straight off the bat. So but I think healthy skepticism is good. But then now it's like, you can't trust data. It's like, I never trusted data. Like, I never trusted stuff. So deep fakes, as soon as I see them, I'm just like, nah, that's probably a deep fake.
Yeah, no, it's getting harder and harder to decipher truth, and I don't know where we go to from here. It's going to be tricky. You're going to have your BS radar up the whole time.
Yeah.
I reckon you'll have an AI that works for you to detect bullshit.
Deep fakes.
Yeah, you just go, hey, ChatGPT, is this bullshit or what? And they go, yeah, it's bullshit. Yeah, I thought it was.
We're going to need
a little Java assistant that just tells you and just runs all the checks. No.
Have you gone and watched?
Do you know where it gets squirrely?
Sorry, say again.
I said, have you gone and watched Altered Carbon, the TV show?
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen. Actually, I think I've seen the first season.
All about AI.
I have not.
Cool.
Should I watch it?
You got to watch that, man.
First season was
that is a glimpse into the future.
Yep.
Yeah, it's weird when you see shit like that.
Put it on the list.
Go, I wonder if that's how you're going to be. And it's like, that the guys who are building the tech are watching sci-fi, and they're like, actually, that's a great idea. I should do that. You know what I mean? Like, we're actually giving them ideas with our science fiction. I think that's the way it's always been. Like,
yeah, but I think they always have, like, all the really good sci-fi shows, they have experts come in and Star Trek's an example where the things they talk about are potentially
physics
legitimate
concepts. Yeah,
that's right.
But then also it inspires other physicists to then go, oh, what's this thing you're talking about with a matter transporter or whatever? Can we actually do that? Or they just try and in the future, I think, it's that sort of is it Arthur C. Clarke or whatever that line is, that sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. And it's like, you can see something on a TV show and you just go, yeah, that's bullshit. But it's like, yeah, but when the tech gets that good, it's going to seem like the bullshit is real. Like the magic is actually just tech. And yeah, people, I think scientists get inspired by watching the science fiction, and then it's this feedback loop where we push ourselves to create.
You're right there, brother.
Taxi.
It's not
Taxi. one priority too many. You're falling off the bus.
Sorry, I just threw that in the bin. Sorry, that sounded worse than it was.
That's a classic line, when someone drops something in a pub and it's taxi.
That's an Aussie thing, isn't it?
I don't know if that's just an Aussie thing, but you got to say it.
Hmm.
All right, bros. Well, yeah, I don't know if there's anything else we wanted to chat about apart from just like these epic green dillies on the charts. The whole PLS, like, so that was one thing I was going to say is, so with the BlackRock BTC spot ETF thing, and they put the ticker on the IBTC, and then it started going up and all that. So there's a lot of tickers, like a lot of cryptos, I guess, that went up, say 20%, this sort of stuff, right? And so on Ethereum side, you could argue that there's the Hart's Law thing where they're bonded by the liquidity with BTC. But on PulseChain, two-part question. How are we bonded to bridged in wrapped Bitcoin? Maybe, but not highly. Maybe just indirectly through Ethereum. But also, it didn't go up 20%. It went up like 40%. So
yeah, I reckon we had a double whammy though, because we had the big washout from the SEC FUD, and that was a steep decline. And then once people get over that, there's probably a better chance of recovering from that in a quicker order. So we probably got a bit of a benefit there. And let's face it, Richard had been a bit more active as well. And I think everyone's seen the SEC take a few L's recently, so maybe that's
they rack them up all the time.
Yeah, so maybe that's sort of easing people's fears on that a little bit. Honestly, I've never even that doesn't even enter into my equation on all of this stuff anyway, because I think what's going to be is what's going to be, and worse is a fine. I don't even think it'll get to that. I'm hoping it'll just get quashed pretty quickly. But then there was the second thing. So we watched Bitcoin rally, and I think arguably the market was probably due for its next leg up anyway. We're just looking at the charts.
But so do you think that so when BTC was going up, and so on Ethereum you had I could just rattle off random tokens, right? Whatever, AVAX, Matic, Aave, whatever, and they all went up at the same time. Is that a Hart's Law thing where they're bonded by the liquidity, or do you think people were just buying their coin of choice because they're like, hey, if the whole market's going up, then I'm going to buy my coin? Because they all sort of went up, say, like 20%, say. And so I think it was more of the Hart's Law thing, the bonded liquidity. But then on PulseChain, because our pumps were just so much higher, it seemed like there was more people on the sidelines that were just like, oh, holy shit, if Bitcoin's going up, then, and we just got over that resistance, that 4046, I think it was, with PLS. We just got above that resistance. So it was like, it's go time. And then there was that whale guy, Alex or whatever, who did the 100K drop on stream on Matty Allen's show. I'm not sure if that did a lot or if that had any effect, but I think he's since sold.
But before that, though, he'd pushed it a lot. So that was...
but that was EHEX, though. Because that went up like 400% or something stupid in like...
Yeah. So I think you're right that if Bitcoin rallies and that has a flow-on effect to ETH, and ETH, we've still got pulls on the ETH side with Hex and Pulse and everything. So you do get that
true
bonded through there, and that's got to flow across. But I think, once again, people see a bit of green and they get positive. I had a couple of people hit me up and say, oh, I want to get some fresh capital in. Okay. So people just love buying shit on green candles.
Yeah, it's the FOMO, isn't it?
Yep.
So do you think this is a bit premature? Like if everyone is sort of talking bull market 2025, and
I've got charts where I've mapped this out, and it's going exactly against the lines that I put in 6 months ago. And that's what I think.
Oh wow, 6 months ago. Okay.
Yeah. So I think I think I've done all the heads and shoulders of ETH and all that, and I posted in our private chat. Go back and have a look at that. And it's
I remember. And you were saying you got to get on your timeline, and I was like, all right, check. So I'll get on your timeline if you say so. And then you were dead right.
So I think once again, you see the chart goes up because I think that's just the part of the cycle we're in, and then the news gets fit around that as well. So
you attach the narrative post, which may or may not be the actual reason.
Yeah, that's right. So
and
it's
like,
everything all feeds into it.
Are you guys more bullish for 2024 or 2025? Where do you think we're going to see, what we're waiting for?
I think it's just a bit of a grind because I talked about this at the start. If you go through, I was looking at the charts while I was waiting for people to come on, and I had put the 3 years from, so the previous all-time high to all-time low was exactly like 1 year, right? And then, but it was 3 years for it to break, to reach the previous all-time high, right? So I speculated that since it did the 1 year all-time high to all-time low again, if it did the 3 years, that would put Bitcoin back at 67K in October 2024. So then I was like, if that's the target, I mean, that's not the all-time high of this cycle. That's just the all-time high of the previous. You've only got like a year for it to do effectively a 2x. So Bitcoin's going to have to start going up at some point. Like otherwise, it's going to be too steep. If you think that that's not even the parabolic part of the bull run, like if you like Tangent talks about the hyperbull, like that's just getting back to the all-time high. That's not when it's actually going parabolic. Like that might be in 2025. So it's still got to do a bit of a grind up over the next year to do a 2x. Otherwise, that model's kind of like the 4 year cycle thing gets canned.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if that see if that works for me. I've just put a screen up. I don't know if it'll let you.
Yeah. Let me see if I can. Oh, here we go. The pro charts.
So this is a hell of a messy screen, but basically what I've done is I went back in time over Bitcoin. Let me just change it to a weekly. It might make it a bit easier. Went back in time and mapped out all the distances between peaks and troughs and full cycles and things like that. And they're all within QE of each other each time. And basically, long and short of that is we ended up. So this part here, which I'll zoom in on in a minute, is the same circle I've got down here. That was just the part of the cycle we're in, where we return back to the average price, back to the trend, and then we go up from there. And it's so far it's been pretty bloody accurate.
It's been tracking it, yeah.
So all these lines that I've got here, which, like I said, look pretty messy. That's all fib extensions and everything. So they're I've used all the right indicators to do it, and that's where I sort of see.
Is that Elliott wave stuff, or are you talking? Is that Elliott wave like?
Yeah, this one's Elliott wave. Yeah, so Elliott wave up and then an ABC correction, but that's around 100 and what did I put that? I think it's around 125 or something like that. 125K is the peak there.
Yep.
Now, obviously, this is all just friggin' tea leaves, but
these
are the lines I've drawn these lines ages ago, and it's so I wasn't that. Let me just take that back to auto. I wasn't overly surprised when we bounced off this level here and went up, and I would like to see us get to this sort of 38K mark, 37K mark off the back of this impulse here. And that would be where you'd probably have a bit of pullback then, because you've got a lot of resistance over here. There's a lot of weight in the chart over here.
Yes.
So that wouldn't be unreasonable to get up to that sort of level before you drop back.
It's got to have some.
Yeah. You can't just pull back up. So great to have all the news about potential ETFs and all that sort of stuff. But I think a lot of it is in the charts already. And I think it's just the cycle of the market.
That's awesome.
When I look at,
go ahead.
I was going to say, when I look at what's going on in the macro stuff, there's a lot of stuff that can affect the markets, but the macro world plays out over a lot longer time frame.
Yep. So
then it comes down to, okay, well, when's shit going to really hit the fan in the macro markets? Obviously, it's already a little bit shit. It's a lot shit.
It's been S&P 500's been pretty shit. Yeah.
But is crypto still running its own cycles outside of that a little bit? And can we fit in another complete cycle before absolute mayhem hits macro world?
Yeah. And I really like how.
And what about the US election? Does that play into the macro as well? And by the way, the US election is every 4 years, so that plays into this 4-year cycle idea as well.
100%. Yeah, it's funny. It's like correlation is not causation, but it's like, what else is it correlated to?
You stack up enough of these things, and then the perception, people's perception as well, is a big factor. It's a very
there is, I think.
And if everyone's sitting there going, this is the way we do it in crypto land, and because of Bitcoin, this is what happens. Well, that's self-fulfilling in its own right.
I was going to say that. Yeah. Agree.
So my optimistic side says it'd be nice to see, regardless of what happens in macro, to see at least this cycle play out for the next 18 months. So sort of mid 2025, we peak out, sort of up around here. That would be perfect to see that happen, and that would put a lot of crypto bros in a really good spot for if there is a downturn in the in the normal markets.
We can hide in our mansions.
You might be able to reposition and kill it in the normal markets as well.
Well, that's true. I was going to say buy a mansion and some robot spots to like defend it.
But you could do that,
yeah. That's probably better because just wait for the crash and then.
I'd class that as killing it.
That's like my end game. Just get a fortress.
Yeah, that's my plan as well. That's my plan as well.
Dogs, just be like, and I'll give them all different like voices and different, like, hey, Squanchy, squanch him, or whatever. So, yeah, that's anyway. That's really cool, man. I like that TA. That's really neat. And
I wouldn't say neat's probably the wrong word, but
no, it's there's a lot of stuff on there, but it's still I can tell it's well thought out. So yeah, thank you for that.
Appreciate it, mate.
What do you think about the like PLS charts now that we've got that, we've turned that resistance into support, that 4046 or whatever that I was saying, which do you think we're on our way back up to the SAC price, or do you think it's like we'll get a bit of a retracement and then SAC price next year, or what are your sort of thoughts?
I reckon a bit of it depends on whether we do see Bitcoin push up to that 38K.
Okay.
So we've risen up pretty hard. Yeah. I think we've broken. Yep, you go.
Sorry. Okay, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt, but we have broken Richard's, you know how he said that fantasy resistance line where if someone put a gun to his head, he'd draw resistance at like, it was like 30.5 or something.
Yeah.
So we have got that at least.
Yeah, so I think when you zoom in on the timeline with Bitcoin, they've had it. That's a big run up for Bitcoin. Now, I don't think it's I should have showed you on the charts, but basically when we're at this point in the market, historically, we've pushed up about 70%, and we haven't done that yet on Bitcoin. Well, I think we've done like 38% or something like that. So there might still be a little bit of gas left in the tank to go up another 20-25%, which that would get us to that 38K mark, and that would fit in with historically what's happened on the chart. So if that happens, that would be really, really nice to see.
So I mean, people have been front running this BlackRock ETF, right? And you know, with the fake news with Cointelegraph, and then with that ticker. But what about when it actually drops? Like, how far away is that? Surely that could happen in the next.
Don't know. I don't know. They're saying quarter one next year.
Oh, really? Is that what they're saying? Okay, cool. I wasn't sure if it's like any day or whatever. Because
some people are saying before the end of this year. Who knows? I guess the other people that are a little bit more, I guess, cautious are saying early next year. It's it annoys me a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
Grayscale has been pushing to get this. Grayscale has been pushing to get a spot ETF for fucking 4 or 5 years. And then BlackRock pops up and it's like, oh, yeah, we could do that now.
But it's not what you know, it's who you know, right?
Oh, fuck yeah. It's system's rigged, mate.
Yeah, big time.
So
completely rigged. Completely rigged.
Oh, yeah. So, and if you can't see what that's all that going on, then you're a bit blind.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if we want BlackRock to be the largest BTC holder anyway, but anyway, that's, I guess, maybe another conversation.
Yeah. Guys, I've got to head off. But
that's cool.
It's been nice talking to you, and I'll see you guys next time. So cheers.
Okay, cool. I was pretty much going to wrap it up anyway, but yeah, that's cool. All right, catch you later, 43.
Thanks, 43.
Thanks
see you
for
later,
joining
guys.
us, mate.
See you later.
See you, bro.
No worries. Cheers, bro. Bye.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of stuff I need to get back on with, so I just wanted
to
come and support the Friday.
I appreciate that. Nah, thanks, man. Thanks. I was like struggling a little bit because I was just like by myself, and I was like, oh, I'll just go on the charts and started looking at multi-sends and stuff for that Lamont thing, which reminds me, check out Klaz's stream tomorrow with Lamont and Crypto Coffee. But yeah, but it was great to have you on because then, we actually get to have a bit of a conversation. And I think, the last robot dogs. Yeah. I don't know why. That's just the thing that I saw this morning, and I was just laughing my ass off to myself about it, of all the different voices I could put in it. And I just really wanted to do a last thing to say, check out that public comments thing for the SEC. If you agree that we should do oppose the proposals, then you can do an AI generated thing and submit it, yada yada. All right. So, and have you got any closing remarks, Jexer?
No, that's good. Thanks for everyone in chat for joining us as well.
Yes, that's a good
Johnny
point.
Chaos was up at 2 a.m. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I can't believe Johnny Chaos. Yeah, he's dead right too. Green bubble fever is infectious, and people were loving it. So, yeah, that's good to have some insights from Johnny as well. So, thanks for joining us. And Finbear, lots of people. Klaz, Ash, thanks everybody. And yeah, was there anything else you wanted to say, bro?
No, all good, mate.
All good. Okay, cool. All right, we'll catch you next time. And thanks for joining us, chat. And rock on. Enjoy your weekend. Catch us.